Yeah.
I guess I'm going to ask you a very practical question.
Sure.
One of the things that I hear all of the time, I'm from Boston, not exactly a pro-life place, and one of the things I hear all the time is, when is it okay to come out of the pro-life closet? Because you will face persecution. You will face persecution. And so the question becomes, A, what is the prudential thing to do? But also, I find it very troubling when people say, I'll come out when I'm a partner, or I'll come out when I'm a judge. And my thing with that is that I think that allows the other side to bully us into silence. And I think it really puts all the persecution on the few who do come out. So, what is your thought? Because I do think there is something about prudence. I don't walk up to someone and say, hi, I'm Danielle, I'm pro-life. I don't say that. But,
Yeah. Well, what I want to say is, amen, sister. I, of course, being in the academic world, I face this with young scholars who are worried about tenure, worried about their next academic appointment.
I have a friend at, I went to BC undergrad, and a friend in the philosophy who just got tenure, and the chair of her department told her, don't put your pro-life work on your resume.
Well, it's especially hard at Jesuit institutions, but it's secular.
Formerly Catholic.
Yeah, that's right. The post-Catholic. Look, I really do want to say amen, sister, because the time for coming out of the pro-life closet is now. It's always now. That's always the answer, now. It's not when I get tenure. It's not when I make partner. It's not when I get my promotion. It's not when I get my next raise. It's now. Now, what does prudence require? Prudence requires that you be able to intimidate the other side. That your arguments are so powerful. Your knowledge of the biological facts is so deep and wide that they have to respect you. Smartest thing I ever did when I was very young, the smartest thing I ever did was in my very first publication, come out of the closet as a no-holds-barred absolutist pro-lifer. Because once it was like tying yourself to the mast, right? Once you're out, you're never tempted. It's too late. I have seen time and time again the young scholar who says, he writes me, I'll say something that causes a controversy in the student newspaper at Princeton, and some young scholar I didn't even know was pro-life will write to me and say, I want you to know I'm pro-life. I thought what you said was really terrific. Don't tell anybody I wrote to you. Now, here's the problem. So I talked to the guy, and he says, when I get tenure, I'm going to come out. And then the guy gets tenure, and I say, and he says, when I get promoted to full professor,
When I get a chair.
gets promoted. When I get a chair, I'm going to. And he never. Next thing you know, he's retired. And he hasn't. Like, you get into the habit of it. It's the most imprudent thing you could do. So come out now. Forget about all that stuff. Come out now. But if you're worried, be so intimidating by the scope and depth of your knowledge and the quality of your arguments that you command your respect. Because you know what? They don't want to tangle with you. Now, can I guarantee that you won't be a victim of discrimination? Can I guarantee that you won't be on the losing end of a hit job? Some people say, well, it's easy for you to say you got lucky, you got through the screen. That's not going to happen to everybody, and I understand that. But I'm urging you to take the risk, as I did myself, because no one ever told us that we would be able to get through this life fulfilling our vocations to stand up for what's true and right and good and paying no cost. No one is going to subject you to what the martyrs of the church have been subjected to in history and are subjected to even today in many places throughout the world. So you won't get an academic job. So you won't get made partner. You're not going to be flayed alive. Your head's not going to be cut off. We're not being asked to take that big a risk. So do it. Yeah. Get my coat. He's going to get my coat.
Okay. So, politically speaking, strategically, do you see the victory or, the essence of a victory for the pro-life cause being bipartisan where it's both Democrats and Republicans, or do you just see Republican pro-lifers pounding the Democrats in submission electorally, and then eventually winning that fight and appointing justices?
This is a deep question that we would need an hour to go over, and we still wouldn't find, I think, a satisfactory answer to this. The real answer at the end of the day is, I don't know. Let me give you a few reflections about it. One, we have to hold the Republican Party. We have to hold, there has to be one party that is at least formally and to some extent practically pro-life. That's critical. Now, I think the way to bring my old party back, I was a Democrat. I served 2 terms as governor of the Democratic Youth Conference in West Virginia when I was a teenager. I worked for the great Bob Casey, the real Bob Casey, not the one we have. The one who was governor. So yeah, the way we're going to get my old party back is to send a message by way of Republican victories over them, that if they want to be competitive for the pro-life vote, then they're going to have to be really pro-life. And that doesn't mean just saying you're pro-life. That doesn't mean just casting a few votes with us. That means being willing to stand up to the people in your own party, to the Nancy Pelosi's in your own party, and showing us that you really are pro-life. I'm not comfortable with the pro-life movement being, quote, the captive of one party. I don't want our party to be treated the way our movement, the pro-life movement, to be treated by the Republican Party the way the Democratic Party treats unions and blacks, their constituencies, their core constituencies, right? I don't want our movement to be treated that way. I want to make inroads into the Democratic Party. So I'm not one of these people who condemns every pro-life Democrat or says that if you're a pro-life Democrat, you're helping the other side. I'd like to make inroads into that party. But I think the way to do it isn't just by joining them, but by beating them. We get some victories, guess what? Suddenly, you're going to find in places like Indiana and Missouri and Montana and Wyoming, not to mention the South, and maybe even in places like Pennsylvania, Democrats running as pro-lifers. Okay? But there's a lot more to say about that. Thank you all, and congratulations again on everything.